Hello, welcome to another edition of Trial by Magus, filming on location on the CIS server. Today we're going to be taking a look at this, the venerable Messerschmitt BF-109 Model B, which is found in-game as a Tier 4 tech tree light fighter for Germany. Now, this aircraft historically was in service before World War II started, and in one form or another it was still flying when the war ended in Europe, and flew for some time afterwards, with surplus models being used in the armies of several air forces in Europe, where they had a lot of them left over and parts. And the Swiss Air Force fielded many of these as well. So the aircraft had a good amount of longevity to it. This model right here in particular was the variety of the 109 that fought in the Spanish Civil War. Now, in World of Warplanes, the BF-109B really begins to seriously introduce you to the concept of energy fighting with a single engine aircraft. Now, what do I mean by that? The BF-109, while it is fairly maneuverable, has a rating of 69 here, that is not its strongest point. Its strong point is its high speed and its altitude performance. An ability to climb up high and store potential energy for use in high-speed diving attacks, and then using the speed from that dive to carry yourself out of harm's way, away from the dogfight, and climbing back up to altitude where you can set up for a follow-up attack. That high-altitude handling also allows the 109 to be very competent at combating twin-engine heavy fighters, which tend to be purely high-altitude energy fighting aircraft. And the 109B, and all other 109s, frankly, can meet them on their own turf, beat them at their own game, and once they're ruling the upper levels of the battle, they are free to use that as a safe haven to dive down upon the remainder of the battle playing out below them. The 109B is a great aircraft to use in conjunction with another player playing a 109 or a heavy fighter or any other high-speed aircraft that would be able to hang with it, keep up with it, and fight in the same territory. The idea there being that you overcome the 109's shortcomings in the maneuverability department by having a reliable wingman who can keep your tail clear of any far more maneuverable aircraft that manage to latch onto your 6 o'clock. Now, the 109B is a strong aircraft to start with, but gets considerably stronger as you upgrade her. As you can see here by the Black Panther emblem on the side, my 109 has been fully upgraded and is now just working towards getting the 109 Emile unlocked, and after that, Specialist. So let's take a look at what I recommend for your optionals on this aircraft. Let's start with pilot abilities. Now, I don't have any pilot abilities available on this pilot yet because he's fairly new. As you can see here, he's still rated at 93% proficiency. But I would recommend that you concentrate on the aircraft's strengths and that you stack up the engine guru ability. Also, a good choice would be the marksman ability, because the 109B has a lot of far-ranging equipment on it. She's got wing guns. 3 guns are center line, so you might put those points somewhere other than marksman. Other good abilities to consider on this aircraft would be Raptor Strike. It's very situational, but it is effective for the kind of attacks that the 109B is really good at. Other things you might want to get would be something like Aerodynamics Expert. Now let's take a look at equipment. Now this is something that has recently gone through a serious overhaul, so you want to push as much mileage out of this as you can because your choices are very, very sparse to begin with. Alright, you have, without Specialist unlocked, you have one cockpit modification available. Now for a fighter, I always am going to suggest the stock optical sight, because that is just a straight up increase in the amount of damage that you put out with the airplane. Just a straight up damage increase, so obviously you'll take that. Your other choice in that slot is going to be cockpit armor, which increases crew resistance to injuries, and I've never found crew injury to be a serious problem on the 109B. Even after I've mounted the optical sight and that silly negative comes into play, I haven't noticed an extreme bit on that. Also because the 109B does not have problems catching fire, I counteracted the negative effect of that improved sight by mounting the first aid dressing package, because the only other choice is a fire extinguisher or these increased income ones, which cost tokens. The other choices that become available to you on this aircraft are an airframe modification, which for the 109B I would recommend polish to increase that speed even more. Although if you want to go for a maneuverability build, you could go for lightweight airframe, although that does increase the chances of taking critical hits to your wings, and really maneuverability is not what the 109B is all about. And then you get an option for engine, and for the engine modification I'm going to recommend that you mount the uprated engine to increase your thrust, thereby increasing your speed, increasing that energy fighting aspect of the airplane that is central to everything about flying the 109s. Once you get into the 109B, the tactics you use here are going to be used throughout the rest of the line. Finally, always when you get access to universal ammunition, use it. It causes fires, and that's just free damage. Upgrades on the airplane. You start off with a weak UMO. I suggest getting that uprated to the DB600AA just as soon as you can. You start off with 792 machine guns right up here. You can never upgrade those. You can upgrade the machine gun in the hub into a 20mm cannon. I suggest doing that as soon as you can, because that gives a lot of punch to your aircraft at close range, and it makes long-range shots more feasible, because the 20mm MGFF has an effective firing range of 600 meters, whereas your machine guns are limited to 440. So I've found in dogfighting that with the 109 here that the sweet spot is opening fire on an enemy once they're inside of 500 meters. So tactics-wise on this aircraft, if you are not an energy fighter, if you're a low-altitude turner, you want to try to sucker this thing into getting caught at low altitudes and force it to start turning against you. If you can get the 109B to start bleeding off its energy at low altitudes, that pilot's dog meat. That's absolutely not what you should do in this thing, and if you can trap them into that low-alt turn fight, you'll stomp all over it. If you are the 109B pilot, you want to keep in mind that your primary attack is going to be slashing attacks against aircraft that either are unprepared for your attack, or if they are ready for you and they know that you're coming, that the difference in hit points and weapons is so great that they're not going to stand a chance against you anyway. High altitude aircraft are a priority kill for the 109B, because you're one of the few aircraft that can climb up there and deal with them. So heavy fighters and bombers that aren't climbing at extreme altitude are going to be what you want to kill up there before you go down and start bushwhacking lower altitude turn fighting aircraft. Get that air supremacy before you start killing the low-hanging fruit. I have a battle for you now. flighted up with Lambo 805 from the Community Ace team, and I hope you enjoy it. Good hunting.
Wanna drive a tank, drink and have some fun. Until we see they don't take me to Russia. So what can't you be? Walk almost free. Hard bases motherland, take me to Russia. I wanna drive a tank, drink and have some fun. Until we see they don't take me to Russia. Gangsta can't you be? Russian bears gonna set you free. To Russia, wanna drive a tank, drink and have some fun. Until we see they don't take me to Russia. So what can't you be? Walk almost free. Hard base